Rich Ryerson, Bill Matthews, Carl Lovejoy, thank you again for your support of this great, wonderful event. And I'd love to hear, at least at the beginning, what it means to you. Maybe Bill, the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey. What does this event mean now as we are well into our second decade?
Well, it means a lot to me. Obviously, I was really honored when I was inducted a few years ago, and I think anything that promotes New Hampshire hockey is wonderful. And I think Jimmy Hayes has done a superb job with this organization and with promoting New Hampshire hockey. And it brings me back to when I was coaching way back in the dark ages, and getting some great New Hampshire kids out of Concord, out of Manchester, Nashville, all of them. So I'm all for what Jimmy's doing and what New Hampshire Legends of Hockey stands for. For the St. Paul School in Rich, and you and your dad, right, are both in the Hall of Fame.
Right. My dad actually was inducted the same year as Bill, along with Hobie Baker, I think it was. So that was a great thrill. And then last year I was inducted and was honored and had a great day. And it's nice to come back and see a lot of familiar faces, people I haven't seen for some time, and to connect with Bill and Carl it makes it pretty special.
Carl, your life's going to change here a little bit, right? And moving forward now with your son now retired as a national hockey player. Ben had a terrific career.
Yeah, he did indeed. And it started in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
You know, a New Hampshire youth player in Hanover. The Hanover Youth Hockey Program, a storied program in the state, has produced some wonderful kids. Ben thinks back fondly upon those days. As you may know, he was fortunate enough to win a Stanley Cup with Pittsburgh in 2016, and he brought it back to the Campion Arena. Yeah, and there's a wonderful picture of Ben in the Campion lobby holding that Stanley Cup out in front. So New Hampshire hockey means a lot to us.
And that's why you've been so involved with this organization?
Absolutely. And it's an opportunity to come back once a year to celebrate New Hampshire hockey. The hockey family is a very tight one. We're very fortunate to have this St. Paul School thread as well. And Bill Matthews is really the main piece of thread within that fabric. And we're very fortunate to be here with Bill and celebrate him as a legend. This guy's always been a legend for us, and we're very fortunate to be a part of Bill Matthews and the Legends.
As I was preparing for today, and it came up in one of our previous interviews, Bill, is how important the sport of hockey is in the state of New Hampshire. And of course, you're at St. Paul's prep school and Dartmouth College, but half of our inductees today are tied to Berlin, New Hampshire, and the Mills, and the employees going out and playing hockey. And it kind of is, we're all one big world. It's really interesting in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I was at St. Paul's for 45 years. I did a number of different things there. But the most important thing and the most memorable and the most enjoyable thing for me was coaching the hockey team. Getting a chance to coach guys like this and other New Hampshire great players is a gift to me.
I was thinking on the drive down today how much fun we had in those high school years and teams, and it was because of this guy. We had so much respect for him. We didn't want to let him down. We had played hard for him. I think he'd be called a player's coach nowadays, but those were some fun years.
Absolutely.
And we'll hear from Ben Smith later today as our guest speaker, and we've talked about how the sport is growing. It's not, maybe a lot of people knew about, of course, the Northeast, but with the development into the southern regions of the United States, the West Coast, the number one overall draft pick in the NHL is from Phoenix, Arizona, which you never would have heard about those kinds of things. So it is nice to see how the sport is moving along.
I remember when Bill was coaching, and then I was fortunate enough to go back to St. Paul's School as a faculty member, to work with Bill, to coach with Bill for a short period of time. And I remember Bill saying, there are no hockey players south of Massachusetts. and that statement, there was some truth to that perhaps at the time. Obviously that has changed, and it was a regional sport, no longer. It's now a national sport, and the St. Paul's kids and the Dartmouth kids and the UNH kids, they're coming from everywhere.
Right.
Not long after that, Jeff Halpern arrived at St. Paul's School. He spent 15 years in the National Hockey League. He's from Maryland.
First time you were wrong, huh?
Did you have many international players in the beginning?
Not in the beginning, really. We had a lot of kids from Concord, actually, a lot of kids from New Hampshire, Manchester. But we had some Canadian kids from just a little bit above the
They can
border.
play hockey too.
Yes, they can.
So I remember Donald Sweeney as a fourth former sophomore coming.
Donald, huh?
We still call him Donald. Yes,
And,
Don Sweeney, of course, with the
this-
longtime Boston Bruin.
correct.
This guy will help us, I thought.
And it did. So, I guess what thought would you want to leave with our viewers here today about this organization and about growing the sport in New Hampshire? What do we need to do? Any thoughts?
Well, I don't have any thoughts going forward. I just have great gratitude for Jim Hayes and for this organization for what they've done to promote New Hampshire hockey. And I think it's helped grow the sport in this state. And what he's doing looking forward is terrific. I'm very grateful to him.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. This is a special day. I know there's a golf tournament that raises
July, I believe.
great funds for the organization, and I think we should all be supporting that. One of the things that I love, Jimmy is putting together a museum. And is collecting pieces from, the old Sacred Heart players and things like that. Without Jimmy Hayes and without the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey, we would lose a lot of that. So it's very important that we continue to celebrate the sport in the state of New Hampshire, and that we support this organization.
Well said. Carl, Bill, Rich, pleasure to meet you all. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today.
Thanks for having
Thanks for
us.
having
Yeah.
us.